Guys, I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little worried about the future of Nintendo Switch 2, but I'm also very excited. I'm just a little conflicted. I have so many thoughts in my head right now after that direct. We need to talk about everything. Hey guys, Nishquick here, and welcome back to another episode of Nishquick Talks. And with these Nishquick Talks videos, I just kind of like to get my mind dump right across to you guys, tell you guys everything that's going on in my head regarding whatever is happening in video games. And today, I streamed the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct event. I did a little bit of a pre-show, I did a little bit of a post-show. It was a 5-hour stream, it was a lot of fun. I hung out with my friend Sam Talks Games and Skylink Theory, and then I had lunch, and then I took a nap. And I had a lot of time to think about everything, and I have a lot of good feelings about this Direct, which we'll talk about, but I have a lot of things that, honestly, I'm gonna be straight up and honest with you guys, it kind of soured the excitement that I had from the presentation. And if you guys enjoy the Nintendo Switch, if you guys are excited for the Nintendo Switch 2, and if you like JRPGs and all that kind of stuff, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I am going to get it right out of the way first and tell you guys how I feel. Love the Direct. The Direct was amazing. I love the games that we were shown. I really enjoyed the hardware presentation and the hardware showcase. There's a lot of great surprises there in terms of the tech, the hardware, the games, how the games were played, what games were shown. The third-party presentation was just amazing. But everything after the Direct, everything we saw after the Direct in terms of pricing for the console itself and the games, as well as the physical games offerings and a few other things like that, it just sort of rubbed me the wrong way and made me think about the future of the system and this console and how it's going to be a little different compared to the Nintendo Switch, and I wanted to have an open dialogue with you guys about that. So the things that really stood out to me in the Direct in terms of announcements and games and things like that, I'll start with the tech. The voice chat stuff is cool. It's almost like you're doing Discord VC within the game itself. It's great for people who aren't on Discord. I will probably most likely still use Discord if I'm playing multiplayer games or just chilling with my friends online. This is a great alternative. It's a very Nintendo way to do things. It's cool that you can do things with the camera and all that. Very nice, very cool, very modern for Nintendo. I think maybe the biggest surprise in terms of the tech presentation was that the screen of the Nintendo Switch 2 itself is going to be 120Hz. That was mind-blowing. That was something that I did not expect. I thought it would be 1080p 60 because they would want to cut costs a bit. We'll get into that a little bit later, but 120Hz is amazing. I did not expect 120Hz to also be present in docked gameplay as well, so this is a massive upgrade from Nintendo Switch 1 in terms of how games will look and play. Like, we saw Metroid Prime 4 with options for quality mode, 4K 60 FPS, amazing. And then 1080p 120, and I think to myself, how many games did I want to do this with on PS5? A lot of them did, but many just didn't, and you're gonna get to do that on the Nintendo Switch 2. That is so exciting, and that makes me very excited for what the future is going to hold for some very big, high-level third-party developers like Zelda Team, Monolith Soft. I was telling a lot of my friends that one of the biggest things I was excited to see were the third-party games, and that third-party presentation back to back, that did not disappoint. I was very excited and very happy to see a lot of big publishers there showing their games that were originally on PlayStation 5 coming to a Nintendo console as well. So a lot of ports, a lot of games that were once on older systems, maybe came out 2-3 years back, are now coming to Nintendo Switch 2, and I think we have not seen the end of that. I was expecting a lot of Xbox games to be here, I was expecting Atlas games to be here, I was expecting Baldur's Gate 3 to be here, but we have literally the rest of the year for all these games to be announced, plus 2026, so I'm very excited to see what developers are cooking. But as of now, it's really awesome to see games like Elden Ring, Cyberpunk 2077, and Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade come to the Nintendo Switch 2. That's so exciting. But I have to say, maybe the highlight of the show and the game that got maybe the biggest reaction from me and my friend Sammy was the exclusive From Software game called The Dusk Bloods. That was the biggest curveball announcement. I was going into the show thinking, what are they going to surprise us with? What are the big things that are going to come out of nowhere? And this just absolutely came out of nowhere. Who was expecting, on top of an Elden Ring port, for From Software to develop a brand new exclusive multiplayer Souls game directed by Hidetaka Miyazaki for the Nintendo Switch 2? I was telling my friend Sammy that this is going to sell a lot of units. This is going to get a lot of people to get onto the system itself. This was a very hype announcement. I'm very hyped for the Duskbloods. Oh, one final thing that really stood out to me with the Direct was the Nintendo Switch 2 Edition enhancements. It looks like they're going above and beyond with these. They're almost making them legitimate remasters. And it's really cool that the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom ones will come free to us for NSO plus expansion pass subs. So that's really cool. And they're going like beyond just control enhancements, visual enhancements, performance enhancements. They're adding new content to some of these games, like for Kirby and Mario Party and even the Zelda games. They're adding significant new additions to these games, and that makes them really stand out. So kudos to Nintendo for going above and beyond in that way. I'm excited to see more of these. I hope to see more of these. Do it for Xenoblade. Do it for Xenoblade X. I know something is coming for Xenoblade X. Like, why didn't you release it today? Why didn't you announce it today? So that is a lot of my positives. I wouldn't say that's where the positives end, but I want to talk about things that kind of concern me now. That might be the majority of this video, and I'm not doing this to doom and gloom or anything. These are just my thoughts, and these are just what I have seen right upon the end of the Direct. First of all, the launch lineup is good. It is a good launch lineup. It has a variety of games, first party, third party, a little bit of everything for everyone. I don't know if anything here really just stands out to me as, oh, this is why I need this day one immediately. I think the only thing that does stand out to me are the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom Nintendo Switch 2 Edition enhancements. And it turns out that there's going to be a lot of new story elements that we're going to experience in here as well. So that is enticing. Mario Kart looks good, but we'll get into that a little bit later, but it looks good. It's not something that I would like maybe go out of my way to get the Switch 2 for day one. And on top of that, they did show some games that are getting free upgrades, and many of them are just like some ordinary Nintendo Switch game. I was hoping to see at least one of the 4 Xenoblade Chronicles games on there, but no. Unfortunately, they were not, so I'm not super incentivized to get the Nintendo Switch 2 day one, and there's more reasons for that we will get into a little later. You guys probably know what I'm going to talk about. Yeah, other than some of those first-party games and first-party offerings, the third-party games look good. You got, like, the new version of Yakuza 0, you got Cyberpunk 2077, but nothing really stands out to me as, Nishquick, you need to get this on Nintendo Switch 2 day one, immediately. Like, I noticed there's not many JRPGs there. There is Bravely Default there, but there is also a very big problem with Bravely Default, which we'll get to a little bit later. But, again, no major JRPG offerings, no major upgrades for JRPGs, so that kind of makes me want to maybe wait it out just a little bit. I don't know about you guys. So after the Direct ended, we went online, we looked for like pre-order information, and then we were hit with the price. We saw $450 and $500 for the Mario Kart bundle, and that was a lot more than I was expecting. A lot of us were expecting $400, but it is now for the base Nintendo Switch 2, $450. And initially, the sticker shock of $449 was a little, like, shocking for me. I was a little appalled. I was like, I can understand potential reasons, potential external reasons why they would have to increase the price like this, but it still sucks. Like, it still sucks. I was bracing myself for something like this, but it still hurts to see that higher price point. And after my nap, after I like just thought about everything, after I heard some other people talk about it, it makes sense. It makes sense because you got a 120Hz screen, 256 gigs of storage. It's a massive increase in quality and tech versus the original Nintendo Switch. So you're paying for a much more premium, more powerful piece of hardware. but a lot of the decisions that I saw in terms of pricing and like all of that stuff, it just didn't really seem very Nintendo to me. And a lot of people are saying, oh, typical Nintendo, they're pricing their games high, they're pricing their console high, typical Nintendo. I always saw the Nintendo Switch 1 as a great barrier of entry for gaming, for people who aren't into video games. Very good barrier of entry. $300, you can just get a Switch. You have so many games to choose from. Switch 2 obviously has the entire Switch 1 backwards compatibility library. They have a good launch lineup and they'll have a lot of support in the future, but that price point is a big barrier of entry. And I've thought about this. A lot of my friends from like high school who I reunited with in college were like, hey, you have a Switch? Well, I don't know if I want to get the Switch for $300. It's a little pricey. I'll just get a Switch Lite for $200 or however much the Switch Lite was for. So seeing a Switch 2 priced at $450 or $500 with a new Mario Kart, it's going to be a shock for some people, and it already is a shock for many people. I've talked to some people in other Discord servers, I've talked to other friends, and we've kind of voiced our opinion that it's a little bit on the higher side. And I hope that this doesn't affect the success and the long-term sales of this system. I think the games will do the talking, the quality will do the talking, but in many instances with the state of modern gaming that I've realized, the things that have hurt potential like modern consoles, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S, a lot of that is partially in part due to the price point of the system itself. Like, I gave a perspective to my friends on stream today. I told them $400 is what I paid for originally a digital PS5 when I first got the PS5 because I really wanted it at launch. I paid $400 for a digital PS5. And then eventually I sold it to a friend for $400. I'm not going to scalp him because I'm not a bad person like that. And then I bought the disc version for $500. And now look at the Switch 2. It's more expensive than a digital PS5 when a Nintendo console or a Nintendo Switch or a handheld kind of hybrid console is supposed to be kind of like your barrier of entry for gaming. And that's how it was for Switch 1. Maybe it won't be for Switch 2, but I was hoping they would kind of carry that energy over into the Switch 2. And I hope this doesn't dissuade people from getting the system, but because a lot of some of my friends who I've talked to are kind of hesitant to get this at launch, and as you might have heard from statements before in this video, I sort of am too. I just didn't expect Nintendo to get to this level of pricing for their systems, but here we are. And also, let's talk about the games as well, because that's a whole other can of worms. Gaming is a luxury hobby. Gaming is expensive. When I look into how much I spend on video games per month or per year, sometimes I just don't want to look into it because I'm like, oh, I'm a little scared to kind of get a kind of reality check about how much I'm spending on video games. Because, I mean, of course, it is our passion, it is our hobby. We love this kind of thing. We enjoy playing these games. But the fact of the matter is, in terms of like even the console price and even the cost of games, inflation is a thing. External factors are playing into the price of games going up, the value of these games going up. It is just an inevitable fact of reality. Games are getting more expensive to make. These Nintendo Switch 2 cartridges are very expensive to manufacture and develop for, and like there's a lot of factors into all of this. But I remember when PlayStation 5 games were bumped up to $70, there was a massive discussion point about it. And I was always generally okay with $50, $60 games because I was like, that's just the norm, that's what I'm okay with. $70 games was pushing it, and what that did for me at that time was it made me a little more conservative and a little more picky on which games I pick up day one. There were many games I just did not pick up on day one because I said, $70, too much, I can wait for a sale, or I can just entirely skip it. The only 2 games I can really think of or maybe 3 games I can think of in modern, like recent memory that I got for $70 was God of War Ragnarok, I remember, because I really wanted to play that game on PS5. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, obviously, wanted to get that game, was super hyped for it. And then the 3rd game was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. After that, I have just kind of stayed away from that $70 realm because I'm like, it's too much. I can wait it out, I can wait for a sale, or I can just not play the game entirely. Nintendo has taken this a step above. They got comfortable with Tears of the Kingdom. They saw that Tears of the Kingdom was probably like the highest selling $70 game ever. It was the most successful $70 game ever. And they took a risk with that. And now they are saying, hey, $70 is the standard for Switch 2, but how about some games go up to $80? And when I saw that for Mario Kart, I was appalled. I was very shocked, and I guess you can say I was even a little upset, and I still am a little upset, because Mario Kart World, this new Mario Kart game, it looks great. It looks amazing. It looks awesome. Is it worth the $70 though? Well, I don't know. It's kind of like an open world, open zone Mario Kart. You can go wherever you want. It's kind of interconnected. It's very cool. It's been in development for so long. They probably put so much time into this. It's going to have a lot of online features. It's going to have a lot of content. It's going to be an ongoing game. It's going to continue forever and ever and ever and ever. Is it worth $80? I don't know how to put that into perspective, but the fact that games, like the cost of games, are rising so much and so much and so much, it hurts, like, financially. And of course, I can get this digitally bundled with the Switch 2, that I can save $30. It's fine, but like, it still feels weird that Nintendo is like, they have that feeling of, oh, we can get away with it, so let's get away with it. Of course, like I said, there are external factors influencing a lot of this stuff. Some things I don't really feel like talking about in this video particularly, but we all know potentially what I'm talking about. But the thing is, the cost of everything is going up. Inflation is a thing. Gas prices are expensive. Groceries are expensive. Gaming is expensive. So with this Switch 2 era, I am going to be not only as selective as I was with the PS5 era and with PS5 games, but I'm going to be even more picky. And that is kind of sad to me. Like, imagine there is a new Zelda game, a big, brand new, open air, awesome Zelda game, looks amazing, plays amazing, performs phenomenally. You can do so many cool things in this world. Imagine the next Monolith Soft game. If you guys saw me on stream today, you guys saw me go crazy, wait till the next Monolith Soft game, you guys will lose your eardrums. Imagine that. Amazing world, beautiful characters, beautiful worlds, like just top-notch RPG mechanics and all that stuff all coming together on the Switch 2. Yeah, the next Monolith Soft, the next Xenoblade game, things like that. Imagine those with all the quality and love put into them. But then they're $80. Like, my hype, my passion will make me want to jump at those games immediately. But then you think in your head, like, $80, that's a lot. Like, do I really want to jump on this immediately? Do I really want this day one? Do I really want this right now? It makes me a little worried. Like, there are a lot of Nintendo Switch like IPs and Nintendo IPs that I like, and some that I just don't really care about as much. And the ones that I don't really care about as much, during the Switch era, I was more inclined to give them a shot because they're at a much reasonable price point. But if Nintendo is pushing the price point up so high now, I might just flat out ignore them, and that kind of sucks. At least we have like methods where we can do like download play through Switch 2, or we can do game sharing through the virtual game cards and things like that. But I am worried for the future of Nintendo Switch 2 in that way. And in just gaming in general when it comes to a lot of this stuff. And I'm going to bring it back to what I said about Bravely Default, because yeah, these game prices are high, but there was another thing that I saw that it was something that I was concerned about, and I was talking to one of my friends about this. I was like, I'm going to support physical gaming as much as I can. I care about physical ownership. I care about owning my games. I care about wanting to play them 20, 30 years in the future. I want to pop them into my game system and be able to play them if that game system still is able to play whatever game that it can play. I want to still be able to do that. With the Nintendo Switch 2, I thought in my head, how many third-party developers and how many first-party developers are going to put their game entirely on the cartridge? How many of them are going to do that? Because game files and game sizes are going to be much bigger with the Switch 2. It is inevitable. The games are getting bigger, the games are looking bigger, more assets, more textures, more tech in that cartridge. There's going to be a lot more data on there. So that is one thing. Another thing is the cost for these cartridges is very high. That is one reason why people theorize that Zelda Tears of the Kingdom costed $70. First and foremost, it was like high, big budget AAA game for Nintendo. Another reason is it used like a higher end Nintendo Switch cartridge, I think. Don't quote me on that, but this is going to increase like the cost of games. But in addition to that, some developers might be a little lazy. Some developers, like Square Enix, I hope you're listening, Square Enix, with like specifically with Bravely Default, a remaster of a 3DS game. It's not all on the card because they have this thing where it's called like game card key, and it's basically like a license where like for some PS5 or Xbox games, if the whole game isn't on the disc, you put it in your system, connects to the internet, and downloads the rest of the game. That sucks. That sucks because like then you don't have like ownership of it. It's basically, then again, just a glorified plastic digital game in the end. And I hope that is not the case for every single Nintendo Switch 2 game. I hope the developers and the studios and the publishers take the extra step, go the extra mile to put the game on the cartridge. I know a lot of these publishers, I know Nintendo specifically, just doesn't really care much anymore. They want to get away with that. They want to be done with it. They want to transition us nicely into the digital future, which is what we're seeing over here. Digital games are cheaper. Like Mario Kart seems to be 70 digital. It seems to be 80 physical. Like physical games are more expensive now, and physical games don't seem to be all on the cartridge. This is another thing that worries me about the Nintendo Switch 2 future. I can only hope and pray that this is not the case for every single third party, and I hope and pray this is not the case for maybe any first party game. And like a lot of us enthusiasts, a lot of us physical collectors, a lot of us people who care about this stuff are going to be the ones affected, but generally most people may not care. And if most people don't care and most people buy digitally through the eShop, Nintendo Switch 2 OLED, I feel like, is going to be a digital-only system. So I'm kind of mentally preparing myself for that. It's going to hurt when it happens, regardless, but that's just how it is, I think. I don't want to doom and gloom over anyone's parade. I am very happy with what we saw. I am very impressed and very happy with the games that we saw in today's showcase. I just am thinking ahead towards the future when it comes to a lot of this stuff, and I'm a little worried, and I think that it is good and it is like reasonable to have conversations like this. And like I said, with this higher price point for the console and for the games, I am debatable on how this system will measure up towards the Nintendo Switch 1. I already feel like the Switch 2, regardless of the price, regardless of the games or anything, I don't think it'll reach the highs of the Switch 1 because of the Switch 1's barrier for entry, the ease of access, so many things like that. Switch 2 is easily accessible in some ways, but that barrier of entry, that price point, it's going to factor into the success of this. It will still do well. It is still projected to be like the biggest console launch of all time, but I just don't know how it'll measure up to the Switch 1. I'm just kind of thinking a little realistically here. Sales will be good, the games will be good, but that barrier for entry is high. Like, again, I don't know if I'm getting this day one. I like what I see. The games look good. The year's worth of launch games look great. I will probably get it closer to Metroid Prime 4's launch because I'm very excited to play Metroid Prime 4, and I'm also very excited for the new Donkey Kong game. That looks really awesome. That looks so good, so good. I'm very excited for that. But honestly, I can wait. I can wait a little bit longer. I can kind of not stress myself out over the stress of all the pre-order stuff, and then just kind of get into it like maybe during the holiday time when Metroid Prime 4 comes out or something like that. I have so many other JRPGs to play. I have Xenoblade Chronicles X to complete, beat, do all the side quests, and make a whole lot of content on it. Maybe I can play Xenosaga in that time. I have 3 major, massive, meaty Final Fantasy games I want to play this year as well. Trails in the Sky remake is coming out. A lot of games still coming to Nintendo Switch 1 as well. So I am excited for 2025, but maybe I may not be an early adopter of this system. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments below. What did you think about the Direct? I personally love the show. I love the showcase. It was a great presentation. It was a great Direct. Everything following the Direct kind of gave me a little bit of a reality check. So I want to know what you guys think in the comments below about the price point, about the games, about the physical media, about the games shown, all that stuff. Let me know in the comments below. And I gotta ask this question one more time. Xenoblade X is getting a 60 FPS upgrade. It was in the code of the game. Where is it? Where is it? If it was coming day one, then I would have more of an incentive to get the system day one. So I want to know. I want to know where it is. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. Give this video a like and subscribe for Nintendo Switch 2 and JRPG content just like this. This is Nishquick signing off. Have a great day. Go play some great games today. Like a I don't know, like something to get ready for the Switch 2. Just play your Nintendo Switch because the Switch 2 isn't out yet. I'll see you guys in the next one later. Hey guys, this is Nishquick. Thank you so much for watching that video, and if you enjoyed it, check out these 2 videos on the left, and maybe subscribe if you haven't on your way out. And big shout out to all my channel members whose names you can see on the screen right now. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.